Good evening and welcome to a revised Chasing Prophecy. We had a little bit of technical difficulty because of a hurricane. It knocked out the station, so we're going to do this from StreamYards. So good evening and welcome from the Keystone State. Welcome to Chasing Prophecy. We're normally on UFO Paranormal Radio Network 107.1 FM New Orleans, where we discuss anything and everything beyond the scope of normal. We are going to record this show so you can go and listen to it at FM 107.1 in New Orleans. And let me just get back on track. Remember to like us on Facebook and Instagram. I'm Jenny Nicasio along with my co-host, Sean Kelly. Great to be with you for our first Halloween special. Figures. It's a full moon coming and Halloween is Saturday and we will have a full moon for sure. Sean, I think we are still going to have a fantastic show in store for you all tonight, despite that. A lot of people are staying in this year instead of trick-or-treating because of COVID. And parties are still going on and celebrations. And if you're in the tri-state area and are looking for a fantastic venue, Nicasio Fields Banquet and Event Planning, natural elegance for weddings, bridal showers, banquets, holiday parties, and much more. Check out their website, nicasio.fields.com. And you can give Ralph a call at 724-493-2622 and book your 2021 event now. We had a wonderful party there a few years ago, back in 2017, and Ralph went out of his way to help us. So, Sean.
Yes.
Take a breather. Before we bring in our guest tonight, Pittsburgh Paranormal had an interesting investigation at the Irwin Moose with Stella, the barmaid hostess, who has haunted the Moose I think it was, 226 for over 100 years. So we also have on board, we have Russell Round, and he's one of the paranormal investigators, and he's going to tell us what he found out at the investigation. Russell, welcome to Chasing Prophecy. You want to introduce our listeners to what you found out?
Well, we got the new Connect camera, the SLS camera. And when we went there, we didn't find anything anywhere else. And then I went to the bar where they said there was Stella, was the barmaid there. Mm-hmm. And we got all of a sudden a figure come up. So we tried to debunk it, thinking it was the lights. So we turned out the lights, the Halloween lights they had, and she stayed there. And as you've seen, she was wiping down the bar, and it was amazing that it caught it so clear. And then somebody put in money in the tip jar, and the stick figure walked over and reached in the tip jar.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. That was awesome.
It was the first time I ever used that equipment. And I was really surprised that it worked, because I got a lot of negative reviews when I went to buy one and a lot of positive reviews. And I'll give it a positive review.
So what were some of the negative reviews on it?
That it doesn't work. It picks up refrigerators and things like that. And they didn't think it was actually a spirit. But when I seen that thing do that night, I couldn't believe it was wiping down a bar. And I seen on another show, they had a stage and there was 4 stick figures. That's what made me really want to buy it. They had 4 stick figures. One was sitting down like he was playing the drum, and the other one was like strumming his hand like he was playing a guitar. And I said, you can't fake this. Mm-hmm. You can't. I've tried to do it with no person standing there, and it doesn't come up at home, but it came up perfect at the Moose Lodge.
Yeah, because explain for somebody who doesn't understand it how it works. Like, I know you said stick fingers, but for someone who doesn't play Xbox, like myself.
Well, it's an Xbox, and it picks up people. It'll pick it, like if you stand in front of it, it'll show you as a stick figure. Because That I don't know how it
You
works.
don't know how it works. Like, does it measure heat?
I know because it won't do lights.
Hmm.
And for some reason, it won't do my dog. So I have no clue. I think it tries to pick up a human form.
Oh,
That,
wow.
by what I read, it tries to pick up, like if you put a broom there, I've never done it, but if you put a broom in with two things coming off it, it'll pick it up as a human. But behind that bar, and you've seen it, Jenny, there
Yeah, I
was
thought it was really
nothing there.
cool. I tried to edit the live that we did last week. I could not do it. I'm having a hard time editing. I'm not really an
Yeah.
editor, so it's kind of hard to edit a video. I'm not really good.
That's what was strange. That night, I recorded 4 recordings with that camera. 3 come out good, and that was us, doing like EVPs and stuff, people. And then that one with Stella, when I tried to get it up, it said file corrupt.
Wow.
And it was
wow.
the only one.
Crazy.
And I knew it was recording. I was, seeing the recording countdown. But for some strange reason, and I just tried it today to try to fix it, to make it come up, and it just keeps saying file is corrupt.
Wow. I wonder why.
They don't want us to see it.
You think it was a ghost?
Yes.
Well, let me ask.
Now, what I did now is I mounted a camera, so I have a backup, so the camera will record whatever on the screen.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
For the one Friday, I'll have a backup.
Oh, I hope you do have a backup, because that was pretty cool. And I saw it myself. And we tried to get more information. Sean, do you remember any of the information that Jason shared with you, Nina and Jason, about the Irwin Moose? Or that was the candy store that we can't go to?
It was a candy store that we could not go to.
Yeah. Okay.
I got that call from the owner of the building, and he was adamant not for us to go in there tomorrow night. He don't want no
what was it?
Spirits.
He don't want no what? You broke up.
He didn't want no spirits riled up.
Oh, so there are spirits there.
Oh yeah, there are spirits, but he's an old soul, and he just didn't want us to be there.
Okay. Well,
but I will give you my take on the moose. Okay, to me, it was an investigation.
You're really breaking. You really have a bad connection tonight.
But I have to be honest with you. I'm sorry.
Well, your internet connection is breaking up.
Yeah, it's like you're in Biden's basement.
You're an ass.
What is your take? Try to do it again.
I don't know why my internet's working and everything's working. I don't know. It's been one hell of a day.
Okay, well, you got to quit bringing your bad vibes into this, because it's going to come off as being a nasty video. So, okay, so you don't know your take on it. You have a take, but you just can't communicate with us tonight because you're breaking up. Wow, that's a shame. But anyways, well, let's get on with the show. And Russell, if you have to leave, you can pop out. If you don't, we can keep you on. We're just going to talk about Halloween stuff and some of the stuff that we had planned. We'll try to incorporate it without our guest, because I don't know what happened to him either.
I love the Mothman show.
Oh, I did too. That was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, they just found one over in Yorkshire, England. There's reports of a Mothman. I just seen it on today.
What did you see it on? What did you see it on?
It was on. I'm on Facebook with Yorkshire Ghost Hunters, and they sent it to me.
Oh, okay. Do they have video or anything on it?
No, they just said that there's been reports, and they're going to go check it out.
Okay. Wow. But let's just we'll just move on a little bit. And I just want to let everyone know that if you think you may have a haunting, a Pittsburgh Paranormal Society is interested in hearing your story. They have high-tech equipment and will pick up about anything that the human eye can't pick up. They have the cool cameras like Russell was talking about. Together with their team of professional paranormal investigators, they'll gather the evidence they find with pictures and video, and they'll put it on a CD and go over with you when they're done with their investigation. And when they have all their evidence and all their findings, they'll go over with you. So you can find Pittsburgh Paranormal on their Facebook page, Pittsburgh Paranormal Society. Drop them a message. And you can also find them on chasingprophecyradio.com. So you all know it's Halloween on Saturday, and I love Halloween and this time of the year. And there's so many myths and superstitions. So if you have any, drop them in the comments. We'd love to hear about them. But I found out some things that are pretty cool. Halloween's origin. And Sean, I don't know if you know, the origin goes back to ancient Celtic festivals. Do you know what that festival is called?
It is Samhain.
Samhain, right? And when they believe that the boundaries between the worlds of the living and the dead become blurred. I think that's so cool. It becomes blurred. That's a really cool way to describe it. And ever since it has since evolved into a holiday, as we know, spooky legends, myths, folklore, trick-or-treaters, black cats, through costumes and stories and celebrations during the Halloween season. I love costume parties. It's one of my favorite. I love to dress up. I like the make-believe part of it, sort of like Mardi Gras, and the mystical beings, from witches and their brooms to zombies and werewolves and all that come to life. So, and each of the season's creepy beings carry its own dark history. Okay, so let's start with, what do you think is one of the creepy things, Sean? Creepy history things about Halloween?
Well, I take it back to Ireland there. Not so much being creepy, but back in Ireland, they never used pumpkins. They used turnips, and they would put it out on their porch in order to keep the ghost away from their house. But before we go on, I really need to say this. Okay.
What
really got me mad this year is that they're not putting Charlie Brown's, the Great Pumpkin on regular TV anymore.
Yes,
I gotta say that, man. That's
Halloween.
It's terrible.
Snoopy.
Yeah, and Apple
and Charlie
bought the
Brown.
rights from this. Yeah, but this Apple bought the rights off of DHX Media,
so they can have people buy it.
Yeah,
and
assholes.
Apple's not that. You have to pay for it, which I don't think is fair.
Right.
No. If I was a parent, I would just go buy the movie and rent it. Not from Apple. Mm-hmm. You could probably see it. It has to be able to see it from some streaming company. I mean, I have the old tapes. I don't even know if I still have them in DVD, but that sucks, man. Because I know my one son loves Charlie Brown and he can't see it and he's pissed.
Yeah, I still watch it and I'm 58.
Yeah, it's just part of Christmas. I mean, not Christmas, Halloween. Well, Halloween. Christmas too, and there's Thanksgiving, and what else is there? Come on, what else is there? There's The
Nightmare Before Christmas. That's a good show.
Well,
that's a good show. Tim Burton.
Yeah, those are cartoons. Yeah. But getting back to the history of Halloween. Okay, so when did witches become part of the Halloween? I mean, there's images of witches have appeared in all kind of movies. They sometimes are like really cool ones, like Hocus Pocus, and then you got that really mean ones, and then there's the witches of Eastmont.
Eastwick.
Eastwick. What was the other one? Then there's Bewitched.
Yes,
but a lot of them are they're teamed up with Halloween cauldrons and stuff like that, and evil women, old hags hovering over a cauldron.
Yes.
really gives witches a bad name, because they always have them like haggard looking. And I think there's a lot of sexy witches out there myself.
Yes, there is.
Yes, but the real history of witches is dates back to what, the 900 BC, and then you go into Salem, and it's the 1600s with this.
Yes, me and my wife go there. We've been there 4 or 5 times, the Salem Mass.
The Salem witch hunts. Yeah. Did you go to the cemetery where they have the witches?
Oh, every
where they were buried?
Well, they're not buried there. They don't know where they're buried. They said
really?
They just threw them in a ditch, and they think it's up on Gallows Hill, but nobody's sure.
Really? Because I did some research on it, and they were buried. They had an actual cemetery for them, and they knew that they were witches because they actually put an upside down cross where they were buried. Well, and that's how they knew that those are the witches that were buried there.
I always try to find where they were buried, and everybody says nobody knows. But they have stones commemorating them.
Oh, they do.
It's called the Old Burial Point.
Wow.
It's a cemetery right in the middle of Salem, and we go there every year. But they said the Gallows Hill, they think that's where the CVS pharmacy is. We've gone there, and we walked around. It was kind of eerie up in the woods up on the hill. And they said, as far as they know, that they just dug a ditch and threw them in.
Yeah.
And then, like Proctor and what was her name? Bridget. They put plaques up at the cemetery honoring them because they, were killed unjustly.
Yeah, wasn't that like a big hoax back then? I'm not really big on witches in Salem, Russ is, but wasn't that a big hoax?
Yes, the kids did it because it got them attention.
Okay.
And the more they did it and accused people, the more attention they got, and then that gave them power. And a 12-year-old kid is gonna love the attention and the power. So that's what they did.
So how did it end?
I think they accused the governor's wife, and then that's when he put a stop to it.
Okay.
The governor of Massachusetts. They accused his wife of being a witch.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to. Sorry if I'm making noise. I have our guest who's trying to get on. I got a communication with him. Again, if you're just joining us, FM 107.1 in New Orleans, as the roof was knocked off and they have no internet, no electricity. So that's why we're doing this. So we wanted to still put on the show that we had planned for tonight on FM 107.1 in New Orleans. So what we're going to do is we're going to have, this is a recorded show, and then we will give it to him, and he will, if you are watching this now, you'll be able to listen on FM 107 on the recorded show and on YouTube at a later date as soon as it gets up and running. Okay, back to the show. Okay, he says he's already in, but I cannot see him. The host can add you to the broadcast. I don't see you. I don't see him in. He's thinking we're still on Skype. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's what we have to do when we're doing something. I sent it to him twice. I don't see him. When we're doing this, guys, can you see the people in? Can you see them at all?
Yeah, I see all three Ims.
No, I mean in the back green room. I don't see him.
No, I don't see him.
I don't see him either. Well, hopefully he'll be able to figure it out. Was it hard for you to figure it out?
Yeah. No, I just hit the button and there I went.
Just hit the link? Okay, I'll tell him to hit the link. He doesn't know.
Then it said open in Chrome, and I opened it in Chrome, and it worked.
Open in Chrome?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I told him that. Open in Chrome. Hit the link and open in. Hit the link and open. Yeah, this is technology.
Yeah, at its finest.
He said he is, and he can't get in.
Wow.
Save it for another day.
Yeah, we can do that.
But another good place, Jenny, is in Yazoo, Mississippi. We went there last year, and that's the witch's grave. That's a pretty scary story.
Oh, tell us about it.
She was killing people, travelers, salesmen and stuff. They said she was a witch.
Okay.
And she was killing them and taking their money. Well, the sheriff got wind of it, and he went out to arrest her, and she ran into the swamp. And she got into some quicksand, and as she was dying, she cursed the town. And then I believe it was 10 years later, they had her grave. They buried her in the cemetery, and they put an iron chain around her grave because spirits can't cross over iron. That's why they have iron gates around a cemetery.
I didn't know that. Did you know that, John?
Yes, I did.
So they put an big iron chain around her grave. Well, that night, the town caught fire and burned down, the whole town of Yazoo, Mississippi. And then when they went out to her grave, somebody went out there, the chain was busted.
Oh, that's scary.
And me and the wife went there. That's a pretty unique place. There's a lot of places. That's what we do. We travel around in the RV, and we're going to head down to Mississippi again this February.
Oh, wow. That's crazy about the iron, but we have some good news, folks. We have our guest in the wings. So I'm going to introduce him. We will still go over our other stuff before the end of the evening. Sure. So I'm going to go ahead. We have an interesting guest in the green room. He is an international bestseller, author, Laurence Galian. We will discuss 1815 movement that started in New York with three sisters who began to contact the dead. Different systems of spiritualism, mediumship, the Ouija board, automatic writing. And he's going to tell us what he thinks the dangers of contacting the dead are. And I don't think you guys want to hear about that, but what parts of the human being survive past death, how to protect oneself when contacting spirits, what behavior increases the possibility of possession. And we can also discuss all the positive aspects of examples of contacting spirit guides and angels and other things like that. So I'm going to bring him on. I'm sorry?
I said my phone's going dead. I got to plug in.
Okay. Well, welcome to the show, Laurence. I just read your bio. I just read your bio to everybody and told them what we would be discussing, the email that you sent us. So we can go ahead and how's it going? I'm sorry to say that this was not what we planned. We usually do it through Skype through FM 107.1 in New Orleans, but they did have a hurricane and the roof came off. Power is out. So we didn't want to disappoint our guests. So we're going to record this show is being recorded and it will be uploaded to the live stream whenever he gets up. So tell us all about the stuff that you were talking about. I just told our audience, I actually just read what you gave me to them so they would understand. And it's interesting.
First I want to say it's an honor to be here. And I want to thank you very much for inviting me. And I'm really looking forward to this Halloween show that we're doing.
Yes.
Yes.
Laurence, tell us about the 1850 movement that started in New York with the three sisters. We'll start off there.
That's just incredible that's an international movement started in a little town in upstate New York, in a little town, three sisters. And there's a lot of controversy about this, but they began to hear rapping sounds, knocking sounds, like someone knocking on a door or on a table. And eventually they decided that they might be communicating with maybe a spirit or maybe someone who had died. They even thought maybe someone died in the house and that the ghost was haunting the house. So they devised a very primitive kind of system at first, like one knock for yes and two knocks for no. And they began to just ask questions. And sure enough, they began to receive intelligent answers. They realized this wasn't just some kind of strange paranormal phenomena, but that they were communicating with someone. And so they then made it a little more advanced and created sort of a primitive Ouija board where they had actual, like, I guess it was one knock for the letter A, two for the letter B, three for the letter C, and so forth. And so then their communication became much more sophisticated. Well, what is truly amazing is that the word about this spread around town, like wildfire, and then just crossed the Atlantic amazingly. And it was the rage all throughout Europe, in France, in Germany. Everybody wanted to get in on this. They called it table rapping. And amazingly, that not only did they hear these knocking sounds, but the tables would actually begin to float in the air. And sometimes the tables would spin. And so in all the fancy parlors in Europe, all the wealthy people, they all wanted to participate in this, and it was all the rage. Now, yes, of course, there were many charlatans that wanted to get in, a piece of the action, and they were doing their stage trickery. There's stage magic, and people knew how to do that. And these people were getting a good chunk of the money, and but nevertheless, there were a great many people, sincere people, and some very, very famous people who investigated this. For example, the founders of psychoanalysis, Sigmund Freud and Carl Gustav Jung, actually participated in these, I guess you might call them seances. Often they would have one person who they called the medium, and they discovered they were playing with this. It was something. It really was all the rage. So they were experimenting with different ways to contact the spirits. So sometimes the spirits, maybe you've heard of like automatic writing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Explain that to our audience if they don't know. Maybe they don't know what that means.
Well, it's very fascinating. Some people, anybody can try this. But I do want to, before we get into anything more deeply, I do want to say, before you do any of all of this kind of thing, do say a little prayer, really, because we do want to protect ourselves. We want to be on the side of light and good. So there's no harm in saying whatever little prayer to your guardian angel, or whatever belief system you believe in, for protection and that no harm comes to you.
Mhm.
Anyway, so some people, uh, they would just start writing, and I can do this myself. I just start writing, and you kind of start daydreaming. You don't want to think too much, and you just let your fingers move the pen on the paper. I mean, it's kind of a little unusual nowadays to not be typing on a computer keyboard or your cell phone or whatever. But anyway, just start writing. Maybe some people just start with circles, and they just
Mhm.
start writing circles and circles and circles, and maybe this will continue for 1 or 2 pages, but then with sometimes all of a sudden they'll start to be letters, and they'll start to be actual words. And it's not a guarantee. Sometimes it works immediately for some people. Sometimes it takes a week. Sometimes it takes a month. Actually, other people will spend years before they have results. But there are people who will put their hand completely over their eyes, just start writing. They're writing so fast, and it is the most incredible things. Uh, Supposedly, they've channeled famous authors that you can find on the internet, channeled, if you want to use the word channeled, uh, or automatic writing, but books and poems by people who have passed away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but
It's
see, here's where I have a problem with that. I've been in the business in paranormal investigating 30 years, and there's a lot of people that do this automatic writing that actually got burnt by bad spirits proclaiming that they were good spirits. Okay. Um, my thing is for me is that if anybody wants to participate in something like this, to have somebody who knows how to protect them, you know what I mean? Have that solid protection around them. That's the same way with a Ouija board. That's the same way with knocking on the walls and knocking on the desk. When you ask for knock for once, yes, two for no. It just seems like people will just go out and do that, not knowing the other harmful sides of spirits. Just had to
yes, sir.
bring that up.
I couldn't agree more with you. I mean, I forget who said it, but they said like a Ouija board. It's if you don't have someone there with you that knows what they're doing, it's just like leaving the front door of your house open, and anybody can just walk right
Exactly.
in. I
Mhm.
mean, who would do that in their right mind? That's why, like, immediately I wanted to throw in the part about the prayer. But I personally would recommend to go further, like you said, to have an experienced person who knows about how to do spiritual protection, how to maybe use a circle of salt. I'm a professional tarot reader. I've been reading tarot since 87 or so, professionally. I always have fresh flowers, um, a glass of water on the table with me, and I always say a prayer with the person that I'm with before we begin. Um, and
Okay.
so, yes, I very much realize that. I mean, there's charlatans here on good old planet Earth. And of
Mhm.
course, on the other side, there's charlatans too. I mean, of course, they're going to say the most. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
They're out there, and they'll tell you, oh, I'm Walt Whitman, I'm
Yep.
Shakespeare, I'm or else they'll say I'm Saint Louis, or I'm this Saint John, or I mean, it can get really, people can get,
Yeah.
weird.
You got to
Um,
be careful who you're dealing with.
yeah, but I agree, but there are, for example, in the University of Arizona, just recently did a very in-depth study into this whole thing, and this is not the first university that has explored it. Now, yes, many experts have found, in their opinion, that there's charlatanism going on, uh, but the University of Arizona did say that there is a paranormal phenomena that is taking place, and they cannot say for sure exactly what is happening, but it is a paranormal phenomena. And that's coming directly now from the University of Arizona.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah, there is, I mean, the whole point really, um, uh, they, they did give this a name eventually. There was a fellow who really deeply went into this in a kind of spiritual way. Um, and uh, he really said that the point of all this is not going to be a psychic. A lot of
Hmm.
people, when they hear about mediums, they think, "Oh, I'm gonna get to ask like, does Joe or Susie, uh, am I going to get lucky this weekend, or something like that, or am I going to make a lot of money?" No, no.
Yeah.
This gentleman said the whole point is to show humanity that there is another side, that
Exactly.
that death is not the end of everything, that we
Right.
do go. Yeah, and I really love that. I think that's beautiful. That was his major reason for doing everything. Uh,
Well, Lawrence, in the email that you sent me, you mentioned that there is a danger of contacting the dead, and what parts of the human body survives after death. Let's discuss that a little bit.
I mean, we've touched a little
Mhm.
bit
Yes, we did.
that people can, just like in normal life, there are con men. I mean,
Mhm.
who rip off rich old ladies, their whole fortune, or
Well,
vice versa.
I didn't want to go. I know we discussed. I wanted to go a little bit deeper than that, like not the con men and people trying to psychics who proclaim that they are psychic and they're not. What other dangers do you think there might be besides that? Like,
Oh yeah, we can get there. There are.
yeah, I mean, what parts of the human being that's left after death? We all pretty much know about the soul, but
Yes. Well, I believe that we are made up of several, like sheaths, or bodies within bodies. For example, we start out with our physical body, and now that's, some people call it the mineral body. It's just the physical body, carbon and
Mhm.
that sort of thing, water. Then that is like suffused. It's interpenetrated by what's called the life body. This is Now, you can use the example of the mineral body is like just a rock that you might find on, and around. Then the mineral body, the etheric body or the life body is like a plant, because the plant that has the physical quality to it, but it lives, it grows, right? But it doesn't. It has a primitive form of emotion. We've learned that we definitely can talk to our plants, but for real profound emotion, then we have to add another level, which they call the astral body, the emotional body. And then, so that's our pets, our animals, who love us so much. And we can feel their love. Oh, I mean, I've had cats, I've had dogs, and the amount of love that they show is it's just incredible. And then finally, for the human being, they say that the divine spark descends into us. And so then when a person dies, bit by bit, they separate from all these different bodies. First, we separate from our physical body and the life body, of course, because the person isn't moving anymore. It's not animating. But the astral body, that does leave separately with the spirit. So that is usually what we can contact when we're contacting the dead. We're contacting their emotional body and their spirit. And the emotional body, of course, can have, it can be a terrible, horrible person. So it can be very, very dark and devious and want to do great harm to people. Because we know here on earth, people have very dark emotions. There are. Right? Killers, rapists, whatever. But we also know they're saints here on earth, if you want to call them that. Very, very good people who love, people who care, people who try to help in any way they can. And so the danger is really right now, like, what kind of person are you and why are you doing this in the first place? I mean, the whole idea of the paranormal, why are you getting involved in it? Why are you playing with a Ouija board? Or why are you reading? Do you want the tarot cards read for you? Is it because you really have good intentions, or are you really what are they, SOB, a really bad person? Okay. And you just want bucks or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I was having a conversation with someone close to me, and they were saying that, why do you want to deal with the paranormal? Why? Because you're just opening yourself up to these, things that can happen to you. And I told them the reason why I got involved in the paranormal was years ago is because I lost somebody close to me, and I wanted to keep that connection. I wanted to believe that they were here with me. And then when you lose one person, you lose more than one, then you lose a lot of them. It's like you really, truly want to connect, and you want to have that peace of mind that, oh, they're still there. They're still looking out for me. It's not that I want to bring, weird stuff into my life, because when you deal with stuff like that, going to hauntings, you might bring back something. So you might open the door to something that you shouldn't bring in.
They do.
So
I think man is intrigued by the unknown.
So true.
like the top of a mountain. I can tell you there's snow up there, but there's people that will risk their
Yeah.
life to go see it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and it
Well,
seems
I
like this time of the year it's even spikier. You know, like you want to, you're some people are attracted to that stuff.
Well,
So,
this goes back, Halloween goes back all the way to the ancient Celts.
yeah, we were just talking about that. We were talking about the festival of the Sam. How do you say that? Samhain?
It's actually pronounced Samhain. It's
Samhain?
not Samhain.
Samhain.
Yeah,
Alan.
Samhain. Yeah, it's not at all pronounced the way it's spelled. But anyway, they believe that the veil between the worlds, between the world of the living and the world of the dead, becomes like gossamer thin
Yeah.
at time of the year. And so it's very easy for one side to pass through to the other side, for us to contact the dead, for the dead to contact us. And I'm here in Mexico, and we celebrate the Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
And my wife creates a beautiful altar to all of our ancestors, my ancestors and her ancestors. And it's a beautiful tradition. But it's amazing that here in Mexico, this is still continuing. I think probably the church wanted to connect somehow with this, but for a long time in the Celtic countries in Ireland, they very much believed this. They practiced it. But I want to get back to what you were saying about what are the real dangers.
Yeah.
If you are a person who is into negativity, I had a very good friend of mine, and one day she called me up and she said, "Larry, I gotta tell you something. I'm so excited. I have to tell you this." And I was like, "Well, tell me." She said, "No. I have to tell you in person." So I said, "Okay. What do you want to do?" She says, "Just meet me at this Burger King." Okay. I'll meet you at Burger King. And so we met at Burger King, and I said, "Okay, tell me," because he really studied the occult, the metaphysics, paranormal, etc. She was knowledgeable, and she said, "I was doing the Ouija board by myself, which I do not recommend." But she said, "I gave my soul to a demon."
Oh God, Jesus!
I was like, "What the F did you do?" I couldn't believe this is my intelligent friend telling me that she gave her soul to a demon. And do you know what she's doing now? She got into that whole vampire scene,
Oh, wow.
and with her fiance, she would be cutting him and
Oh my,
drinking his blood.
ew, that's gross.
But
People
It
actually do
happens.
that.
Yes, they do.
they do. And what happens is you get involved if you're on the wrong side of this I don't know, this yang yin balance thing that's going on here. If you're like in it for yourself, basically, uh, you're opening up the door to all sorts of negativity, and it's very difficult to get rid of it. Some people actually, these they will invite the spirits in. There's a form of mediumship. We talked about automatic writing, where people just write, but there's a form of mediumship where the medium will, in a seance, in a circular table with many people around, the medium will invite a spirit, a departed person, to actually come into their body, take control of their body, and begin speaking. And they will often speak in a different voice. Also, I've seen all sorts of things because I've explored the religions like Candomblé, Santeria. So I've seen young girls smoking cigars and drinking whiskey. I mean, when a spirit takes possession of you, it takes possession of you. Now, if it so happens that this spirit is a negative spirit, a very evil spirit, this spirit is not going to want to leave. If you ask it to leave, it's not going to want to leave. It's going to want to stay and hang around and take control. And it is very difficult. The more evil the spirit, the worse intentions it has. But I don't want to give the impression that this whole thing is like so extremely dangerous that no one should play with it.
Yeah.
It's like driving a car. You don't say to someone, maybe your 12-year-old daughter, no, I'm never going to let you drive because there are car accidents, and I know people can get hurt in car accidents and die.
The way I see it is you should have a really good reason if you want to contact somebody. You know,
I wouldn't. That's smart.
You don't just want to bring somebody in, and that's why I have sometimes a negative feeling about going to hauntings unless you really, if there's somebody there that's malicious or something like that. You don't want to bring them out. Like, I don't know. I think when you look for it, you might look for some trouble that you don't want. Sean, what do you think about that? Sean, what do you think about that? Sean, are you sleeping?
I personally, I'm here.
Yes,
I'm here.
Okay.
What do you think about going into?
Because I speak too loud.
Just going into buildings and you don't know who might be there, or an old hospital or something like that.
Well, see, I've been in the business for like over 30 years, and I am a very spiritual person. And I know who's in the buildings. I know if they're bad. I know if they're evil. I know if they're good. I mean, we go on investigations, and if I think it is too unsafe for my crew to get in there, then I will not do the investigation. Okay, if I knew there was something really, really, really bad. And people should not go into mental hospitals that are torn down anywhere and try to see if they can find somebody evil or any type of ghost, because they lie. You know that spirits lie.
Yeah.
And then people get burned. So like I tell everybody, like I say, I tell everybody, it's like, bring somebody who knows what they're doing, and then everything will be okay.
Yeah.
That's what I think, Jen.
Well, let's go to a different direction since it is our Halloween special.
Okay.
Let's start talking about some superstitions that there might be, and if they are legit why are they superstitions, and maybe a couple of them that have been debunked. So, anybody want to start this? Go ahead.
I like this legend of Sleepy Hollow. I mean, I
don't even know the legend of Sleepy Hollow. It's something about a guy with a pumpkin head.
Yeah.
Ichabod Crane.
Yeah, Ichabod Crane. Okay.
I just watched and I've read the story. I've seen the old shows. And I just think it's like totally dark and fascinating, to be honest with you.
Where did that start from?
You know what? I don't have a clue. I don't.
Okay. What about the black cats? Like, where did that come from?
I don't know.
I got one, not black cats, but crossroads.
What's that one?
Yeah.
Yes. Crossroads, I think, are very magical places. Crossroads are anywhere where two roads cross, and they say they're very magical places, places where a lot of things can happen. Now, there are many different kinds of crossroads. Anywhere where two different elements meet. We have earth, air, fire, water, and the fifth element being spirit. So, like the seashore, as you're walking along the seashore, you're in between the two worlds of the ocean and the land, which was the sand. Um, but a lot of people will do magic right in the middle of a crossroad that's deserted late at night. And the idea again is that there are two energies that are going in different directions, and that they are going to meet. It's sort of like it's sort of like a triangle. I like to think of it as a triangle. Um, they You have like the thesis, and then the antithesis, and then when they come together, they create the synthesis.
Oh.
So think about this, like a man and a woman come together in holy matrimony, they make love,
Interesting.
and what is produced? A third human being.
Yeah.
And so from that love, and I'm adopted, so I know I'm pretty close to all of that. But that's the idea of bringing together what appears to be two opposites to create a kind of explosion, like matter and antimatter. They say just create a big burst of light. So that's one that I do believe in.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Now
cool.
with the
Then you
black cats.
Broken mirrors.
What?
Yeah, cracking mirrors. Mirror
To
cracks.
break
Hey,
a mirror, you get 7 years bad luck.
Well, that I believe in that, because that happened to me. I broke a mirror and I had 7 years of bad luck.
They used to cover the mirrors when somebody died, so their spirit wouldn't go into them.
That's
Exactly.
true. What
And
about the
then-
black cats?
To me, the black cats, that was just a thing with the witches.
Why do witches have black cats?
I guess well here. Okay.
Well, they
because somebody came up with the idea that black cats needed to be with witches, and that's where they're at.
Okay.
Because if you look real quick off the subject, Pan, Greek mythology, Pan, right? Half goat, half human. Okay. Now, when the Christians came in over there into England and all that to deal with the pagans, okay, they wanted to change their religion from paganism to Catholicism or Christianity. And so what they did was they took the face of Pan and they said, that's the devil.
Wow.
And so that's how the devil got his horns. You see the picture with the devil with the horns on?
Yeah.
It's because back in that time, that's what the Christianity people were telling the pagans. So if they can come up with that, God only knows what they can come up with witches and black cats.
Yeah. Well, before we go for tonight, I want to go over our top 5 Halloween movies. Who wants? I'll go my first. And then you guys. My first, the 5th one is Hocus Pocus. I have to watch that. Halloween, and there's a new one called Funny Hubby. They said it's really good. I watched a few minutes of it, and I have to finish watching it. I think it's really good. Insidious, which I love that. And Signs, because there's aliens in it. Sean, what are your top 5?
My 5. My 5th one is Tony Shalhoub, Monk and 13 Ghosts.
Oh.
Misery, my fourth. But the big guns are out now. I like Lon Chaney as the Wolfman, Bela Lugosi as Dracula, and of course Boris Karloff as Frankenstein. To me, those are the ultimate Halloween stories.
Russell, what are yours?
Poltergeist. I love that show. Movie.
Yeah.
Beetlejuice.
I forgot about
It sort of
Beetlejuice.
explains a lot of it. And my all-time favorite was Boris Karloff with Frankenstein or the Mummy.
Yes.
And Lon Chaney is the Wolfman. That's
Oh.
I love that show.
Lawrence, what are your top 5?
Well, I didn't know we were going to do a top 5, so I'm a little. But I am like I've been a horror fanatic ever since I was a kid, and I would scare myself senseless, so that I would every night I'd have to close the curtain so that no alien could possibly look in through my window.
Mine were teddy bears.
You know what? A very strange thing with me is Stephen King.
Oh, yeah.
It's the opposite of what most people have. I adore his movies. Almost every Stephen King movie, I just I'm wild about. His books just don't do
Stephen King.
I don't know why. I'm much more a Dean Koontz fan. I'm reading his latest. I forget the name of it, but I'm reading Dean Koontz's latest, which is just fabulous. It's about a single father with a young 11-year-old daughter, and it's wonderful. You have to read it. But then, I go back to all the great black and white ones, and even Abbott and Costello.
Ones are good.
Vincent Price.
Yes.
Vincent Price. Oh, yes. We can't forget Vincent Price.
No.
No.
The Fly, Vincent Price in The Fly. That was amazing. And even Jeff Goldblum's Fly.
Yes, that was good. I think I'm going to
was-
watch that one. Actually, I think I'm going to watch that one. I like that one. Well, Lawrence, I want to thank you for joining us tonight. It was delightful and interesting. Tell our listeners where they can get a hold of you to learn more about you.
They can just contact me at quantumtheurgy.click. That's my website, quantumtheurgy.click. That's all. They'll find me.
Great. Sean, tell our audience where someone can get in contact you for a paranormal investigation.
Yeah, sure. Just go to Facebook to our page, Pittsburgh Paranormal Society. Send us a message, and we'll get back to you and see if we can help you out. We also have an Instagram.
That's awesome.
Pittsburgh_paranormal_society.
And Russell, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, Russ.
And please check out my author page, J.E.N. Nicasio, my trilogy from the sky, and my Halloween short stories, The Hunting, Short Tales of Twilight on Amazon. It'll be free after today. And if you think you would be a great sponsor for our show, please email us at chasingprophecyradio@gmail.com. Next week, we will have Erin Rowley on the show. She believes that she was abducted by aliens. She wrote a couple books on it. And remember to like us on Facebook, Instagram, and check out and subscribe to our Chasing Prophecy on our YouTube channel. We hope you will subscribe and become a Patreon and help us stay on the air. You can donate to Jen3963@comcast.net on PayPal. Stay safe. Good night, everybody. And have a wonderful, safe, I want to completely say safe Halloween.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Stay safe.
Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Okay, guys, we're done.
All right. We're done.